Sarah Kaufman. There she is. How are you, Sarah?
Hi. I'm great, thanks. Yourself?
You don't seem too pleased. Come to you. It looks like you're about to be interrogated. Where's the smiles? Where's the happiness? You should be glowing. You're a champion again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. Maybe it's just, I wasn't sure what was going to cut to me, so I don't want to have a smile pasted on there.
Sorry. Well, there's the smile. Congratulations. That is correct, right? First finish since 2011?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but it's been quite a while. So I feel like I've evolved a lot over the last few years, and I was very happy with the finish for sure. And of course, my first submission on the record in an MMA fight. So it was a kind of it was my 25th fight. It was my 20th win. And then it was my first submission. So a lot of really big things coming out of it.
Wow. Did that ever become like a mental thing with you? Like when is the next finish coming? When's the submission coming? Like, is this something that you harped on?
I mean, I guess a little bit. I know that I have the ability to finish fights and I have an exciting style. And it just wasn't, I wasn't putting it together. Not that it wasn't coming together. I mean, I fought some really amazing females, but I just wasn't fully bringing it all together. And I feel like as of late, that's all starting to really kind of come forward and kind of culminate into I think my next coming. And I think big things are coming for me.
And I should correct myself. I said it was late in the fight. I mean, it wasn't even quite in the championship round, so to speak. So I want to give you the credit that you deserve. It wasn't in the third round. Late in that round is what I should have said. But still a dominant performance. Did you realize that there were just 30 seconds left? You had her in a precarious spot, and the way you finished and found the opening with the rear naked choke was very impressive. But did you realize that there was only a few seconds left, that if you wanted to capitalize on the position that you were in, the dominant position, you had to go to work soon?
No, I literally had no time, no inclination of what time was left in the round. I was trying not to pace myself or think too much about that. And I think normally my corner kind of calls out 2 minutes left or 90 seconds left. And I don't know if they were calling out and I wasn't hearing it, or I wasn't listening. But I felt just really confident. I was trying to take every opportunity that I had. At one point I landed something and I was like, oh, I should have kicked her so hard, and I didn't. So I was just trying to find and be in the moment. And I knew that in the second round, she got out of that head and arm choke, which I was like, oh, I knew I was going to get it. And then I didn't. And so I just knew that later on that would come about. I'd find the opening. And then when I had the opening, I wasn't going to let her get out again. And so that's I wasn't thinking about the time. I was just, trying to find it and make sure that she didn't get out.
I like the sort of, I don't know what to call it. It was kind of like a bit of a shrug. Shrug isn't the right word, but almost like a sense of relief came upon you afterwards. Like what you did with your body afterwards, you're like, finally, I could get a finish here and celebrate. I'm a champion again. Is that fair? Like, was that what was going through your mind?
Yeah, for sure. I know that I deserve to be a champion. I know that I match up so well with, I feel like I match up so well with the current champ, Amanda Nunes. And so I just needed to prove, to myself, prove to everyone, really let my performances speak for themselves. And I wanted the finish. I knew that it was there for me. I knew I'd make it happen. But it was a matter of pulling that trigger and actually going for it and not overthinking things, which I have in the past. And so it definitely was that relief of, people are going to finally start to see again how good I can be and how much I can bring to the sport of MMA.
I am a big Invicta fan. I like the product very much. I love what they do for women's MMA, so I hope no one takes this as a slight. That being said, that preface out there, what is it like for you, who has fought on big cards in the UFC and Strikeforce, to now have to kind of work your way back up and fight in front of smaller crowds, smaller shows? Is this humbling for you? How do you, because it reminds me somewhat of a great baseball player then kind of having to work their way up the minors. Now, again, I'm not calling Invicta the minors, but I'm talking about the crowds and the stadiums. It's different. There's no denying that. How do you deal with it?
It's different, but at the same time, it's not that different. I mean, I know UFC Fight Pass is a big platform. There are a lot of people watching, so it's not like you're in a local venue where no one else is seeing it. I think the venue is amazing. I love the actual venue, that the Scottish Rites Temple. It has a really cool vibe. And at the end of the day, you're in there, the lights are on, you're in the cage, And so I don't notice that much difference between, fighting in front of 20,000 people or fighting in front of the Scottish Rites Temple crowd. They're just as into the fights. And to me, it's, I could be fighting with 0 people watching and I would care just as much. And the energy is still great in the arena. So I guess it's a little bit different because it's, it's not the Bell Center or, in Houston when it was, Kane and JDS, I think.
Yep.
That energy was electric, but it's all the same once I'm in there. I'm focused on my task and on showing everyone, showing myself, showing my coaches why I have been in the sport for so long and continue to be successful.
Okay, so that being said, I remember when you spoke to us in December at the UFC event prior to your debut, and you predicted that in around 18 months you'll be back in the UFC. Are you liking Invicta so much that you don't care about that anymore, or do you still feel like that's what needs to happen?
I mean, I love Invicta. They're great. They treat me well. They're a great promotion. But I mean, of course, the UFC is where like the big names are right now. And I definitely feel that I match up so well with so many of those names. I think that the bantamweight division right now needs an influx of excitement. They need some more fighters. They need more names coming in to mix up the pot and keep it fresh. And even though I've been there before, I do think that my recent performances are going to be getting me back to the UFC. I don't know how soon. I don't know when. But I do know that, I'm uninjured. I'm available. And I really will fight whoever they put in front of me.
Your timing is great. As you alluded to, you win this belt with the women's bantamweight title of the UFC being defended this Saturday. So I'm sure you have your eye on that fight, Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington. Just curious, as someone who pays a lot of attention to 135, who do you like in that fight?
Oh, I actually think that it's going to be a somewhat close fight. I think that Amanda, I would say, has the strongest first round for females in MMA. I think that her first round is always sharp, is precise, comes with power. So I think that her first round is going to be a dominant round for her, maybe even the first 2. But I think that Raquel, her ability to kind of grind in, I think that she'll tough it out. She's not going to shy away from getting hit, which I think other people do with Amanda. So I don't really know how to call it. I can see Amanda taking the title.
You're not allowed to sit on the fence.
I know.
We need a prediction.
I'm a fence sitter, though. I don't know. I think I would be happy to fight either, but I think I've always wanted to fight Amanda since Strikeforce. I remember telling my coach, Adam, I want to fight her. I'm going to beat her. And for whatever reason, he's like, I don't know why you think that. I think you'll beat her, but I was just always very confident. And then, so I guess I'd like Amanda to win and then be able to have that fight. But I'd be really happy for Raquel if she won as well. But I guess I will say Amanda.
Okay. All right. It took you a while, but I appreciate the prediction. Any particular reason why you, A, had your eye on her, and B, were so confident when dreaming about fighting Nunes?
I mean, I guess I'm just confident in my skills and another kind of striking style. I like that she kicked a lot, and she's evolved so much since Strikeforce for sure. Her jiu-jitsu is good. Her wrestling is pretty good. But I'm just confident in my skills in that area. And I think that it would be a good challenge, but a really fun fight and a really kind of fan-friendly, exciting matchup that, that would be pretty high-paced.
It's been an interesting, year and a half or so for you since leaving the UFC, because you fought for Battlefield FC in Korea, and then you go to Invicta, and to the best of my knowledge, essentially a year after fighting for Battlefield, you were finally paid in full. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was maybe a week over a year after fighting for them. I got a message on WhatsApp from one of the guys who was part of the promotion, and he said, "Hey, how are you? I have good news for you." And in my head, I'm like, "Am I getting paid? Is it happening?" And yeah, I mean, it kind of came to fruition within about 4 days of them contacting me. They said they had new backers, they had a new sponsor, and that they were going to be paying all the fighters. And then, I was reaching out to Jess and and talking to other people, trying to figure out like had they been contacted as well. And we all got paid within about a week of them contacting me. So it was very unexpected, and it was very exciting. And I deserved it because I did the work, but I had kind of written that off as money I was never going to see. So it was like almost like a bonus check.
Initially, you got $0 for it, and in the end, did you get your full purse?
Correct. I got $0 initially, left with, they'd sent me away with like a little, oh, thank you for being part of our promotion. We're so happy. They gave me like a little like candy box. So really I left with a candy box, and then it got paid in full.
Wow. I feel like in the history of combat sports, not just MMA, there's probably like 3 examples of that actually happening, where they don't pay you for 6, 7, 8 months, and then they actually return out of nowhere and pay you. I feel like that is a gigantic anomaly. Like I don't even know if I've heard of that. Like there's a point where it's gone, as you said. Like you just kind of come to terms with it, and I feel like you passed that point several months ago.
I hadn't heard from them since August. Up till August, they were contacting me saying, we'd love to pay you. We're working on it. We're trying to get new sponsors, whatever they were saying. And then I sent them a message in August. I sent them a message in October, and I hadn't heard anything back. And so I was like, yeah, they're gone. They've bolted. And then, as I say, in early April, I think, is when I got the message saying, or maybe it was late March. I got the message saying, hey, good news. And apparently they want to run more shows. So I guess that's why they paid people, is because they actually did want to make good on what they had promised. And I think that they're hoping to run more shows in the future.
Something tells me, even if Invicta says yes, you're not too keen on fighting for them again.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
If they were to pay me before I were to leave to go to the fight, 100% I'd go. But I would not go and for them without having money in escrow or, some kind of assurance that money was already there waiting for me and whomever I was fighting. So I don't know if that's even an option, but that would be my condition, is if I were to work with them again, it would definitely have to be on a upfront basis. Because aside from that, it was great, but being paid is essential in a sport that's a professional.
Yes. Especially what you guys are doing. Your last fight in the UFC, December of 2015. Your next fight was for Battlefield. That was March of 2017. So 2016, inactive, and then 2 fights. You get your first fight in Invicta back. You once fought for them in 2018, and then January of 2018, and now May. What was that year and change like for you? Were you taking time off voluntarily, or you just couldn't find anyone to sign you up to fight?
It was a combination of things. It was, I actually, the week after I fought Shevchenko, I was helping someone train, and I partially separated my shoulder. And then as that healed, I was getting ready to go down and help Holly get ready for Misha. And the day that I booked my flights, I actually partially tore my rotator cuff.
Oh.
So I actually spent like the first half of 2017 rehabbing and getting everything back and making sure that I could train. And then I actually took from like June until maybe October or November, I took that time to actually see if I could get down in a healthy way to 125. I dieted down, extra cardio, all that kind of thing. So I wanted to see if it was possible to see what options I could open up. And then it wasn't. It was too far. And so I just trained, and I did a bunch of jiu-jitsu and grappling competitions, and just wanted to, find myself again and remember why I enjoyed and loved competing, and challenge myself in different ways, because I wasn't performing how I should have been. And so I needed to figure that out, because MMA is not a sport that you should be doing if it's, just a pastime, some way to make money. It's dangerous. And if I don't want to be the best, I shouldn't be in the sport. And so I needed to find those ways back and find the opportunities and different competition to really help me get back there.
Do you feel like you got that love back?
I do. I actually don't think that I ever lost the love for it, but it wasn't showing up in my competition. So I loved the training. I loved getting ready for a fight. And then in the fight, I wasn't sparking. I wasn't going. And I think that my last few performances have definitely started to show people and remind people, and remind myself. Like when I fought Panny, so much fun. Like it was probably the most fun I've had in the cage in a long time. And she was a great opponent. You know, she definitely stayed in there and allowed for me to have a fight like that. But I think that fight and then fighting Laner on Friday, you know, are all steps in that right direction to remind people that I belong in the UFC. I'm, you know, trying to finish fights. I'm going to be finishing fights. And I'm not trying to just get out there and make a decision happen.
I know you just mentioned 125, but I wondered if they would call your number in their quest to find someone to fight Chris Cyborg. Was that ever discussed? Was that ever brought to your attention? Did you ever consider throwing that pitch out there?
It's been brought up a lot, actually. And when I'd hurt my shoulder in 2017, when Leslie ended up fighting Chris, I actually got a call and they're like, we'll make this fight happen right now. And I wasn't training. I wasn't able to spar. And I was like, I'll do it. I'm in. And, you know, definitely my coaches and my team were like, you're an idiot. You're not doing it. You can't train. But it's definitely been brought up a few times in the past. And I'm sure it'll come up again as we move forward.
Are you still interested in it? And at 145, not at a catch weight?
Right. I mean, Chris has a division now. So, I mean, I'd be very small for the division. But that being said, I actually think that I have a good style for Chris as well. And so that's not something I'm closed off to. It's definitely something that I would be open to moving forward.
Your next fight, where do you think it will be?
You know, I don't know. I think right now, probably the UFC is likely where it will be, just given, you know, the 135ers that are available and where I see a need for me. But I don't know. As I say, I'm available. I'm open. I'm in shape. So whatever comes up, I'm ready to go. But I mean, if there was a spot on the Calgary card in UFC, that would be great because I'm in Canada, you know, and I'm so close there. So that would be ultimate. That would be great for me if they could put a matchup together and have me fight in Calgary.
Not just Canada, Western Canada. So it's like one province over. I mean, it's essentially a no-brainer. Have you heard from anyone in the UFC since your victory on Friday?
I haven't. No, I just came back Saturday, and then it was the weekend, so I haven't heard from anybody yet.
Okay, but it's nice to be a champion again, right? Where's the belt?
It's over in the gym here.
Okay, special spot, or you just kind of throw it on the table?
Well, right now it's just on a table, but the kids will, you know, there's a couple of other belts up, so we'll get a spot for it. I'm sure. Sure, the kids tonight are all going to be crowding around and pretty excited.
The Strikeforce one was awesome, but I would think the symbolism that this one possesses, considering, you know, what you've been through over the last couple of years to get back and be a champion again for a very well-respected organization, I would think this one is very special, right?
It is. And I think I don't care so much about the actual title itself. It's a really big stepping stone in terms of, you know, what it means. And it's a tangible thing for people to grab onto. And so definitely to have the opportunity to fight for a title and to win the title, it's just another reason and another confidence builder for myself to know that I still have it, to know that I'm not in this for the wrong reasons, that I do care. And I mean, I've always cared, but I just think it's a really good symbol of kind of what's to come for me. It's like that, you know, it's the progression.
Congratulations. Enjoy it. What a time for British Columbia MMA. 3 champions, I do believe, for major organizations hailing from British Columbia. You, Julia Budd, 145, Bellator, and of course, Rory McDonald, 170 pound. Am I forgetting about anyone? I mean, 3 is phenomenal. I hope I'm not forgetting about
Bibiano Fernandez.
That's right.
He's based in Vancouver.
That's right.
Yeah,
and adopted. Yeah, there you go.
It's all pretty close together. It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. So again, congratulations. I'm very happy for you. Great fight, great performance, great finish. Enjoy the victory, enjoy the belt, and I hope this leads to better things for you. So thanks again. Thanks for checking in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.